Crypto hodlers, beware, because the final crypto flush could be moments away. And right here, you can see I've posted a tweet. I said that the party is over. One man's liquidation is another man's bid. And the charts are busy shouting that you should be wary. So let's get straight into it. We did have the monthly close. Michael Saylor news has just come out for those of you that are unaware. Not the biggest story yet, but it could potentially pivot into something much bigger later down the line, that combined with a whole bunch of other things like Mt. Gox. But we'll have to see. He's essentially been accused of evading taxes, in a nutshell, keeping it very short and sweet. But let's see what the price action tells us. So we're going to have a look at the quarterly chart over here, because we did, of course, yesterday have the monthly close, and that will bleed into that quarterly time frame. So you can see, looking at this chart, it isn't really the ultimate picture of health over here for a healthy bull run or anything. This has been straight down selling all the way since the top, red candle after red candle on the 3-month chart, and you can see that this area sticks out like a sore thumb. It's the $13,880 level. I do think, and I mentioned this on yesterday's show, that any price action that sells down into that area, I do think will be met with a lot of demand, at least from my side. I will most certainly be bidding in that zone. That is where I become an interested buyer. And the stock market is also showing some signs of nearing those key and pivotal levels, which we'll touch on in a moment's time. So essentially looking at this area as the first major zone of interest on Bitcoin. To show you the same thing on Ethereum, what you'd be looking at, Ethereum has been holding up a bit better, but you're targeting essentially that $743 level. This is now I'm talking to the macro people, those that are looking at price action over months to years. You are the typical investor. This is what you want to look at. You want to look at high time frame things. You want to ask yourself, is this chart bullish or bearish? High time frame. We're not looking at intraday stuff. I will talk to the intraday folks in a moment's time, but for the high time frame, guys, is this bullish or bearish? If this were any other chart, a 5-minute chart, please tell me, would you be buying? Would you be buying this? I don't know. Not me. Monthly over here, you can see, also mentioned this yesterday, we're contending with that second quarterly close, which is this quarter over here on Bitcoin price. This is a key and pivotal point, and I told everybody, write this number down and still keep this in your notebook. This is a very, very important zone, and that zone is $19,924. $19,924. If that level starts to get lost, you can expect a potential acceleration towards the downside. Your next support zone on a monthly chart is going to be the quarterly low, which was the ultimate low that we've had so far this year at 17,592. You would hope that that level is going to bounce. If it doesn't, then those lower targets come in play, where we have major support within this zone over here. So ranging between that 10 and call it 15K level. This is an important area where I do think it makes sense that price should catch a lot of support there and potentially bounce. But with that being said, we are caught below the 50 moving average, which throughout every single other bear market that we've had was a very, very important zone. As you can see here on the monthly chart, every single time we managed to find some sort of support and base off of that and bounce towards the upside. And now we're failing to do so. So the question remains, if you look at this tweet over here from Root to Fi, he says that people are talking about an 85% drawdown to complete the cycle, because this is what has historically happened. Every cycle from the top to the bottom was 85% drawdown. For that 85% drawdown to happen is actually 50% lower from the current price action today. And that brings you to about a $10,000 Bitcoin. How would that make you feel? He says. So, and I ask you the same thing. How would that make you feel? Would you be excited? Let me know in the comments, because maybe you're sitting on a hoard of cash and you have the opportunity to buy at prices that were last seen years ago. And you can see this horizontal support within that zone. That's exactly where it would take us from the ultimate top to the bottom. And timing wise, you would hope that that would happen pretty soon, because when you zoom in and you look at this chart, this is the logarithmic regression chart. You do have the previous 2-week candle, which is a massive bearish engulfing candle, and that signifies that there would be most likely continuation, which means it could happen as soon as within the next 2 weeks. Within this candle could be that final flush to the downside. I'm not too sold on that idea. I prefer to just take things day to day, week to week. But I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen as soon as, again, you take out those pivotal points which are labeled on the monthly and quarterly chart. Then you would expect that there could be a fast acceleration to that downside. And guys, for those of you who would be looking to catch any sort of bids within the zone, should it happen, I really encourage you. You want to place your bids now already. You want to set your orders. You want to have the exchange loaded with your funds, because when these things typically happen, the same as what happened over here in March of 2020, exchanges tend to shut down. They go offline completely and you're unable to place your bid. So make sure that you set everything in advance, because when it's all unfolding, it happens so quick. This might hold into this area for, like, literally, I'm not joking, under 4 hours. Like, you might be sleeping when it happens, and when you wake up, it's already looks like this, with a massive wick over here, and then price, let's say, from the bottom of that COVID wick to the top, you wake up, price is already 40% up. It's over. You missed it. Never again. You'll never see those prices again. So you have to pre-plan for these things. And the best way to do that is to ladder in. You use that ladder strategy. I've shown you guys many times before on BitGet how you can do that. You can ladder in. Google one of those previous videos if you want to find out about that. The link is also in the bio below for a BitGet sign up exchange over there. So what would be required for something like that to happen? Well, looking here at Richard Hart, he says here, are you ready for the Mt. Gox Bitcoin Dump? And you can see this is essentially a letter to all of the people that were involved in the Mt. Gox hack that happened. But if you look over here, one of our own Banter researchers, the Irishman, he says that Mt. Gox update has arrived. So he's kind of debunking the FUD around it. And he says it looks like the Mt. Gox trustee has set a deadline date for the claims to be made, i.e. any claims that happen after September the 16th will not be considered, and the trustee is not distributing the $140,000 or the 140,000 Bitcoins or dumping them. They're solely just gathering data on where to send that Bitcoin. So with these things, I also just want to outline that when it comes to, these fundamental things, everybody is oftentimes focused on these things, and they almost never unfold when you anticipate. So it's kind of like that saying that comes like a thief in the night, it will usually unfold when you least expect it. And therefore, just look at the TA, look at the charts. We can see that things look bad. It looks like we're expecting one more flush to the downside. Could happen in the next 2 weeks, could happen in the next month. We don't know, but set your orders and be prepared for the downside move. So with that being said, here's our trade that we outlined yesterday. Bitcoin I have it on the 15-minute chart. I did drop this in the Discord VIP group. So for those of you who participated, congratulations. You can see that we literally marginally got filled. Here was the wick that put us into the order. You literally had a drawdown of 0.05%. You could have literally hit that thing with 100x leverage, and I'm sure you would be absolutely smiling now. I didn't do that. I exercised proper risk management, used the 3x leverage, still nice and low, still holding the position. But to be honest with you, I am wanting to cover the short trade already, because I do think that there is a small possibility that we get some sort of a bounce. And I'll show you why. It's got to do with the stock market. I'll show you why in a moment's time. But for those of you who are not yet part of the Discord community, if you do want to participate in that and you do want to get these trades that I drop, all you need to do, click the bio below. So the description below, you'll see that there is a sign up to any one of these exchanges, OKX or any one of my ones below. When you go to that, you'll click open our Discord. The link is there as well. And I'm just going to show you quickly what the interface looks like. Let me just get this tab here. Where is it? Okay, here we go. So for example, here is the trade that I gave. You can see there it is, exactly like I just showed you. I gave you your stop, your entry, your TP, the whole bank shoot. I showed you it looks like we're in the money. Everything is over there. So when you click on that link, it's going to take you to an apply here section. There you go. You You can use my link, OKX, click on that. And then once you have that, you will need to join the VIP group. So you're going to click over here, unlock VIP, and then accept. Then you'll be into that group. I want to call it the Banter Billionaires. Please let me know what you think of that name, the Banter Billionaires. Then every time I address you guys, I'll say, hey, Banter Billionaires, here's the alpha. I drop it into Kyle's trades or Kyle's thoughts. By the way, if you use my links, you still have access to everybody else. By the way, you have access to Sheldon stuff as well as the Bombay Trillionaire. So moving on, let's get into the actual alpha of the show. So you have over here Mac 10, and he says, why guess the future? This is relating to the S&P 500, the stock market. Why guess the future when the same pattern has repeated twice already this year? Some people like playing the magic 8-ball, going with the gamble, he's basically suggesting. And that is essentially the picture of what the S&P 500 looks like. So let's quickly bring this over. I just want to show you. Here is your S&P 500. So you've had your multiple different rejections, lower highs, but now we are coming into a key and pivotal point where there could potentially be at least a short-term bounce. So with that being said, you also have Al Capo, and he's outlined on the S&P 500 the key pivotal area, also showing the same thing, potential short-term bounce. He is looking at it on a low time frame, though. I can see that's an 8-hour chart over there, but short-term potential bounce into resistance and then a potential breakdown after that. And if we look at the S&P 500 on my chart, I did outline that exact same area over here, and I said bulls better pray that there is some sort of a bounce over here. So look, as traders, what do? Do we buy resistance and sell support? No, other way around, right? You're meant to buy support, sell resistance. So here you are coming into an obvious area that should interact as some level of support that may provide a short-term bounce and relief. However, I definitely don't anticipate that it's going to be anything macro. I just think it will be exactly that, something short-term. Then that could possibly even lead into a picture like this. You could end up getting almost like some sort of a head and shoulders pattern, and you break down the neckline, and then I'd expect the final leg down to the downside. So that's essentially the way that I'm looking at that chart over there. And then you have markets and mayhem, and they have shown that futures has already opened completely red. We do know historically September is one of the worst months when it comes to trading. I like what Darius has shown over here. He has a phenomenal high alpha newsletter. It is quite pricey, so I'm going to leak some of that information to you. Essentially, it just says that we're currently probably in stage 5, in case you're not yet familiar. And what is stage 5? It's high frequency shorts are now starting to execute on expensive assets. Then the next step that you're going to get is a systematic unwind. And then the final step, which would be that capitulation within the markets, is retail pukes the lows. Just like COVID, they capitulate and they sell around $4,000, which is ultimately the bottom. So meaning that we're getting close. That's all that I'm trying to say. The point of this is that we are getting close to the end. And you can see that as well here. You got Charlie Bellio. He says that the last 8 times the S&P 500 was down in a calendar year, bonds finished the year up, which cushioned the blow, but this time is different. So it's a different story in 2022. Stocks and bonds are both down over 10%, which is something we've never seen before. And ultimately what that means is probably we're not going to have any sort of a soft landing. And the reason why, as you can see, the market is now expecting the Fed already to increase the interest rates by another 140 basis points before the end of the year. And he says he's not sure how this is going to play out or work when you combine that with a $95 billion monthly quantitative tightening, guys, which starts today. Bear in mind, this whole rundown, let me grab one of these high time frame charts over here. This whole rundown has happened with quantitative tightening starting. When did we begin with quantitative tightening? I think it was around June, somewhere around here. Have a look at the reaction to that, guys. This whole move down, quantitative tightening at 45 billion. We're now going to 90 billion, exactly double that. So it isn't looking good. It's not looking good, at least for the bulls, 95 billion. And that begins from the 1st of September, which is today. Happy September, by the way. Autumn for you guys in the US, spring for us in the Southern Hemisphere. So that's why I say I expect that this is most likely going to break down. And what does that mean next? Where is the main area of interest? Where's the main area that I find interest for a potential bottom? Look, it's still going to be this area. And I've kept this literally since the top over here, live on air. This is the area that I've been focused on. It is the pre-COVID levels before the dump. Also, wouldn't be surprised to see us go through that and go lower. But this is the main zone of support on the S&P 500 as well as the futures market. Let's see what the volatility index is doing for the S&P 500. Looks like it's ticking up slightly. How did NASDAQ close yesterday? NASDAQ was a strong selling day, so straight to the downside. Dollar was powerful. Let's see how it closed yesterday. Move on to a monthly chart to give you some perspective. Look at that, guys. Strong, very powerful. This was your prior resistance, 108.6 for the DXY, the dollar index. We've now closed the candle successfully above that level, as well as opened a new month above that level. So open and close above means most probable continuation to the upside. Next target becomes 111. We take it step by step. You clear that level, 114. Ultimate level is the 6-month level coming in at 119, which when I put on a 6-month, looks probable. It looks like the DXY will most likely rally to that zone. This is where all the liquidity lies. Markets are a game of liquidity, and that is how they move essentially. So with that being said, you need some strategies in your toolbox. I'm going to retweet this for you. It's a long one because I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description below. He says here, are you a swing trader or mid or long-term investor and wondering when is the right time to buy? There is no need to buy random price levels blindly. He's been a trader of 5 years, mainly focusing on TA, and he will teach you how you can maximize your profit. So he goes on here and he says, have you ever heard the popular investor saying, and I've said this to you guys many times, the trend is your friend. Well, it's true. Actually, the trend is your best friend. Let me explain. You don't want to be buying something that just entered a high time frame bearish trend. Let's just quickly go back to remind some of you. Nice, right? Okay. He says you want to be buying when the bearish trend flips into a bullish one. Okay, that's easier said than done. How can we determine an asset flips a high time frame trend? The answer lies within moving averages. Short for moving averages, MA, short for moving averages. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing because he gives different MAs and simple moving averages and things like that. I'm going to give you one very, very simple strategy that you can use and focus on. And I know I'm going to be repeating this because I mentioned this on yesterday's show, but that was on the Crypto Shorts channel, which means less people saw it. So for the rest of you, just bear with me. I'm going to quickly outline this simple strategy, which all you need to do is put any asset that you're using on the daily chart, and you're using what's called the 12 and 24 moving average, exponential moving averages in this particular one. So 12 and 24, I use what's called the triple EMA forecast. All you need to do is put that on. The yellow is the 12. The red is the 24, and it's very, very simple. Look at how beautifully this has worked all the way down from the top over there. You had a cross, right? You can see the yellow cross below the red, and that was essentially your top. Now, had you used this strategy, firstly, you probably would have outperformed some of the best in the market, some of the best hedge funds, using one simple strategy. It removes all emotions, crosses to the downside at a price. The exact day the price was at, let's give it on the average side, was 57,426. That is your sign something has changed within the market. Time to exit. Price pushes back up towards those EMAs. You start selling. You sell. It keeps you out all the way. Keeps you out. Now, you have a big bullish candle that happened on the 4th of February, 2022, rips through to the upside, still cross bearishly. Okay, holds. Now you get a bullish cross. That happened at 44,000. You still sold 57,000. That's like, I think, a 30% move to the downside. You're using 2 to 3x leverage, nice low leverage. You've just doubled your money from that one move. Now it messes you around a little bit. So this is why you need to combine it with other technical analysis skills. It crosses bullish again, crosses bearish, bullish, bearish. So cuts you in and out, which is still okay if you're using the strategy, by the way, because at the end of the day, you're just managing the losses to reduce the losses so that they're small, and then those big wins that happen. So had you sold all the way at the top at 58K all the way down, that's going to make up for it in the long run, but you need to stick with the strategy. However, using your other TA skills, you would still know that you have an overall bearish downtrend. You can see that this is just a consolidative range. And once you break down this trend line over here, which is creating some sort of a bear flag, then you know that it's over. It's back down to the downside. So look at that. You break it down on the exact day that you break down the trend line. You have the bearish cross that happens at $39,000. Price pushes back into the moving averages or the EMAs. You start selling into your short positions. You hold it all the way down. Starts creating another trend line over here. Doesn't cross back bullish. You're still holding your positions. Comes down here. Crosses bullish for the first time at $22,000. So you literally sold over here. You sold at an average of about $40,000. That is another 50% move to the downside. You're using 2 to 3x leverage. You double to tripled your money. Low leverage, easy, simple, just like that. And now the same thing happens. You can see a bit of a bear flag forming, a rising wedge, whatever you want to call it. But essentially, it's consolidative. What did I do in this position over here? I bid every single higher low. So you didn't know over here, no higher low. Let me grab the highlighter so you can see what I'm talking about. Over here, first move, right? So bulls enter the market, push price up. Second move, you have the second higher low. Great. Now I can have something to work with. I know my invalidation is if I bid over here and price comes below there, it's going to be bearish continuation and I'm out of the position. So I bid over here. Price comes up, comes down. Bid again because it's higher than that low. Continue up. And I bid every single higher low all the way up till this was the last one that I bid. I didn't bid again once it got over here. It looked like things were starting to roll over. I didn't like the wicks that were happening. And what do you know? Price starts to roll over and the EMAs again cross bearish, which we just had on this massive candle to the downside. $20,000 that happened pushes into the EMA just like every single other time. That means enter your short positions. That's it. Like there's nothing to be emotional about. Oh, Bitcoin will never go to its previous all-time high. We already did. We already went below it. I think we're pretty much below it now. Like just look at the chart. The chart is showing you what's happening over here. Now, what do I have to say about that? This level over here is key. Previous lows, you start to lose this level, and I would expect acceleration in the same way that you happened within these zones over here. It's going to be the same story over there. So with that being said, I do think there could be one small bounce off of this area. Any push into that other EMA coming in around, which is the 24 EMA, coming around 22,000-ish level. And every day that number comes down, by the way, because the EMAs are moving down. Then I would want to be entering and loading up on short positions. So something like this, start loading up over here, expecting further prices to the downside. And by the way, with that being said, I do expect this will be the last and final flush. I'll reevaluate because I don't want my emotions to get into the way, but I have been eyeing this level out for this entire bear market. So I will start bidding there. I will look and assess the market at the time and see what happens. I got some important things outlined over here, date-wise of when that could happen. We have inflation data release plus the ETH merge, which is probably going to fail. Hate to break it to you, on the 13th of September. Then the 20th of September, we have the FOMC, final nail in the coffin. That would be a perfect catalyst to send it down to the last leg, especially if this is going to be the case that they're going to raise it by 140 basis points. Then we're still contending with the non-stop quantitative tightening. We need the Fed to pivot before we actually know what's really going on. So that being said, I think I've covered enough on this section on this chart. Let me just quickly check these EMAs, the 9 and 34. Same story. They work in a similar fashion. This has been a great one, the white 34 EMA. That governs the overall trend. It's down. Okay, what else have we got? Michael Saylor, I will not go quietly into the night. Bitcoin sounds like a poem. Bitcoin cannot be stopped. Very uncharacteristic from him. It's on, bitches. So, I mean, you should go look at his timeline. It's very funny. This is probably the pattern that we're in. Alpha BTC shows over here Wyckoff accumulation pattern, and this is typically markets move in these different patterns, accumulation and distribution. And he says, yeah, so Bitcoin is following the accumulation schematic that he posted a while back. He thinks that BTC finds a nice bottom in September, in line with what I'm seeing as well. So the spring is what they call in this pattern over here, might not happen as he has it, and it could follow number 2. The best way is to play it level to level, which is what I said to you as well. Play this level to level. You take each step at a time, one step at a time. He has the schematic expecting one leg down over here. Price pushes up. You distribute slightly. Final spring, that's the ultimate bottom. He's got it labeled, I think, around 15K over here. And then essentially price will reaccumulate and push up. But this time, I don't know what's going to happen because of this 95 billion quantitative tightening. You have to know it's going to affect the stock market. You have people like Michael Burry who are fully in cash now, one of the legendary investors, as well as many others within the market. So looking here at ETH, for those of you that are in ETH, here's Al Capo's post over here, and he's saying all the way down to $650 to $700 for ETH, which is in line with what I see on the quarterly chart over here. It doesn't look like it's going to happen yet. I'm not sure how this is going to unfold. I'm really just keeping it simple with strong horizontal levels. 743, it's in line with what Al Capo is seeing as well. But he's expecting first a push up to around the $1,800 level before a final short position. So is that possible? What do I see? Let's look at this chart over here. Ethereum, 1,800. I'm doubtful of that. I would say maybe around here. I think possibly 16 to 1,700 at the most. I don't really, if anything comes higher than that, yes, it could be a bull trap. What you could have, if it's in line with Al Capo's, you could have price pushing up over here and then create that deviation, and then boom, everyone that's over here is trapped, because what you would have thought is, of course, this is now holding the key horizontal and you're expecting upside continuation. I don't personally see that. I think any push even into 1630, into the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart, or 1670 within this zone, this is the area that I'd be looking to build a short position. And I'm also not calling major doom yet. I would just target towards that support zone, and the support is coming in around 1,300. Very, very simple, nothing too complicated. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin over here. Bitcoin, you can see, is caught below all of its important EMAs. It's stuck below the 21, the 50, and the 200 EMA. Not only that, but it's also lost the all-important support zone over here. So sitting under that psychological $20,000 support level is now flipping into resistance, and that's not looking good. You have your momentum oscillators that are starting to turn over to the downside. Same thing over here. This is just a more clean chart. Ethereum also kind of stuck under its important previous support that's flipped into resistance. And here you have Bitcoin, same story. So on the lower time frames, look, I think anything that pushes into this zone over here, and this is a very simple chart with a diagonal. Let's make it big over there. Governing all your lower highs since the 14th of August. It's been holding very, very nicely. Any push into that red line is an opportunity to short. But with that being said, I'm impartial on thinking that it's going to break this level down, the lows over here. Hence, my take profit is there. I think a sweep of those lows at 19,600 to about 19,500, sweep of those lows, possible push up, maybe then it breaks this trend line. I don't know. This is a short-term time frame trade. I'm taking it one step at a time, and I think the community have been making decent profits. So as long as you guys are making money, I'm happy. And I think, guys, that brings us towards the end. If you enjoy this video, please make sure that you give it a like over here. Smash the like button. Also, a big shout out to my new sponsor, PrimeXBT. For those of you who do want to sign up to PrimeXBT, you can get up to $7,000 in sign up bonus if you use the promo code Kyledoops. And guys, that brings us to the end of the video. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. And until next time, I will see you all on the following video. Trade safely. See you all in the Discord. Cheers for now.